Take me far away, All right, guys, welcome back into another PGA DFS video. Welcome on in. Kind of did some changes to, well, the live stream. I know I haven't went live for golf all too much, but that is going to be a plan going forward on Wednesdays and whatnot. I'm going to have a whole show, and honestly, hopefully I try to do that for both Monday and Tuesday as well. Have a different show. So the Monday show will be basically like it was as the video, kind of a longer format, just breaking down everything for the tournament. The Tuesday video I'm still trying to decide on, might just be like the betting show, and then this would be mostly just taking questions and then doing maybe prize picks, which I'm going to start off with here. So do have a bunch of stuff kind of that I'm excited for the season. So we do have some people coming in here with some questions, and I'll just start off with those. As always, at the end of each segment, I'm going to be touching on the questions. So this is like the end of the opener segment. So let's go ahead and answer some of those. Why is Tagala and Power together? Thoughts? I'm actually perfectly fine with that. This is a week very much where, with it being such a low field, that I get why someone would put together low price players like that to then try to pay up for studs. Okay, obviously Tagala's a scorer. Wise I really like, and Power I really like. So 2 out of 3 I already really like, and then Tagala is someone that obviously I think he had the most birdies last year on the PGA Tour, so obviously someone that can go out and score birdies. Do you 150 max or go slow out the gates? That is honestly the biggest question, because this might be the tournament in which there is a huge edge in doing that, because not many people are going to want to do that, just given the fact that it is a 39, 38 man field event, and not a lot of people are going to be as focused on it as they are. People are going to be focused on NBA still. People are still going to be focused on NFL. So there is a big edge there, I think. And so I'm going to go through the process of that in this video. We'll see. If I like the lineup, sure. First live stream. Welcome in, Terry. All right, so, and then we got a question about Rahm. So I'll actually get into that question about Rahm ownership-wise more, but the question was, with Rahm getting a lot of ownership, should I jump off of him? No. Is really it. Just because someone's high owned does not make him a bad play, and that's really the reason for me coming out with the ownership leverage tool. Okay, so that pretty much is telling us that just because someone is high owned doesn't mean you should fade them. Okay, and so that's why I like the tool. So I guess I'll just start off with the ownership leverage part, so we'll get into that. Okay, so looking at it right now, Jon Rahm is the third best play leverage-wise, ownership-wise. Okay, so don't jump off of him. Even because he's high-owned, that doesn't mean someone's a bad play. Okay, that's really the whole point of this tool. Okay, just because someone's high-owned doesn't mean they're bad. And this is a week in which, with a lower caliber field and with softer pricing, just because someone does have a high ownership doesn't mean they're going to be a bad play. Like Xander and JT, they're getting a lot of ownership, but given the soft pricing, they are still kind of under-owned, okay? And with it being a field like this where there's so many good plays, the ownership is going to be very spread out. So really, you should just be trying to load up on the players that are going to be good plays, okay? So looking at it right now, who are the bad plays? Well, the bad plays are going to be the players that are basically bad plays, okay? What we could do is actually just sort by salary, okay, to see which players on the top end are going to be the worst plays, okay? So we'll do that. So looking at it right now, Russell Henley would be the worst play, okay? And Russell Henley's the guy that can really go out and get hot, pepper greens, and make birdies. He's going to give himself opportunities. It's just whether or not he makes the birdies, okay? Hideki is a risky play, and that's why he's not popping up. And so the whole point of this tool is to tell us, like, just because someone's high-owned doesn't mean they're a bad play, and just because someone is low-owned doesn't mean they're a good play. Like Billy Horschel, for example, he is pretty low-owned, but he's not a great play. He's an okay play. He's a shoulder shrug play. And obviously in a limited field, it is what it is. Like the ownership spread out pretty evenly thus far. So not too much we can get crazy with there. Okay, so let me go ahead and just see if there's anyone that I directly want to fade personally. And one of those would be probably Hideki. Okay, I don't love Hideki this week. Okay, 15% owned, that's not too bad in this field, honestly. The thing with this is we don't know where he's at. If we knew where Hideki was at health-wise, yeah, we could probably play him. Okay, we just don't know that. And the last time we have saw Hideki wasn't great, you know, so that does worry me with Hideki. Some other players. Sam Burns. Sam Burns is an okay play. Okay. Not terrible. Could play him. I don't love him. Like, there's a reason why a lot of these players are playing in this event, because they're great golfers. This is very much nitpicking, okay? And that's really why in no-cut events, the best thing you can do, really, is just to pay up for the top plays and then just try to find a couple of good value plays that are really going to go off. Because the more you try to get cute with it, the more you're going to make, honestly, just dumb decisions. So that's my approach there with that. And most week, guys, the ownership leverage video portion should be better than this. I know it's a small field, okay? There's not really that much decisiveness I can give you guys, just except for the fact that play the studs. Be overweight on the guys you like, okay? And so for me, that is going to be Cantlay. That's going to be Rahm. That's still going to be Xander. So there's a report coming out about Xander, and I did want to touch about this, that, you know, he didn't play in the Pro-Am. He had to withdraw from the Pro-Am. And so Eddie's actually asking about that. We don't know why he withdrew yet. I was looking on Twitter before this started. Don't know yet. Okay. Goes back to golf reporting just being terrible, honestly. I don't get it. Players should have to submit an injury report. It's really not that hard. DraftKings is making a lot, or the PGA Tour is making a lot of money off of DraftKings. Just DFS in general, betting, you know, we're helping grow the game. So they need to do what NBA did, which is really put a focus on injury reports and accuracy in those, like the NFL did as well. You know, until that happens, when stuff like this happens, we won't be able to know. So Xander, I am hoping personally that this drives down his ownership. Okay. We have seen time and time again players withdraw from Pro-Ams and then be perfectly fine. I would say probably 80% of the time that is the case. Unless it's someone that already had a previous injury, then that would be a worry. Xander is not someone that we've heard anything about with an injury for, so we should be fine. It might just be like a little illness that he had too as well. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe something with the plane ride. I don't know. We don't know, okay? With that, I'm not going to change anything. I kind of take stuff like that as equal, like nothing changes, okay? So that's basically what I'm looking at there. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the prize picks section of this video. So guys, this is my first time doing a prize picks really content. So if this is something you guys want more of, please let me know and I'd be happy to. This is something I'm testing around if I should include it as part of like the 9-to-5 membership as like another add-on avenue for it. I'm not going to say it'd be easy to do, but at the same time, if it's worthwhile, I would definitely do it. So I went ahead and I did like a little Excel chart breaking it down. And I also tweeted this out. So I'm just going to go ahead and look at the tweets that I had on my phone real quick. Basically this, and it's tough. Typically I like to bet the over when we're doing stuff like this, NBA, NFL. With golf, it's a little bit different. Like, I was noticing that I just want to bet the under a lot, especially for this tournament, because they are thinking that's going to be higher scoring or lower scoring than I'm expecting than it has been in years past. Is pretty much it. So let me go ahead and pull up that tweet. If you guys haven't, I'm sure most of you guys are following me on Twitter, but if you guys haven't, make sure to do that. Okay, so birdies or better looking at last year's tournament. And I want to look at last year's tournament, just last year's tournament, because weather-wise, it's going to be very close to last year where the weather is not looking like it's going to play a big factor. And let me pull that up again. Just going to refresh it. And I always look at this. I like to look at a consistent source for my information. For weather, I just go to PGA Tour weather and whatever tournament it is. Okay, so Sentry Tournament Champions, we got that. I guess we can look at the hourly real quick. Yeah, tomorrow morning, not going to be anything crazy. The 10-day, it is starting to get a little bit windier. Okay, earlier on in the week, it was about 15-mile-per-hour winds. Once it gets over 15-mile-per-hour winds, we do see that start to have a difference on the scores. Okay, 18-mile-per-hour, though, not going to change anything too much. Okay, so it's still going to be pretty low scores. And so Prize Picks is pretty much saying it is going to be low scores. So looking at this right now, 29% of the field last year averaged 6.5 or more birdies per round. So what does that tell us? That tells us we probably don't want to mess with this, okay? Sure, these are the top players in the field, and if we had to choose, some players to score some birdies, it would be these guys, okay? I'd probably say like John Rahm if I had to, or Scotty, that I would want to choose the over for this. But honestly, it might not be a bad idea to bet the under on these guys, okay? The issue with it is it's obviously Prize Picks. You need to get the picks correct, where it's not like betting where it's just an averages thing. If you get 60% of your bets right, you're happy about it, let's try to find someone that we can really feel good about. So last year, 37% of the field had 6 or more birdies per round on average, okay? And then looking at as well, 58% of the field had a birdie or better, looking at the 5.5, 58% of them had a birdie or better last year per round. So really what I'm thinking about here is which players are not projected to do well that also don't score that many birdies. So I was actually looking at Jordan Spieth, guys. Jordan Spieth's a fine play. Okay, let's be honest. He's a fine play. Last year at this time, I would say Jordan Spieth wasn't the Jordan Spieth he is now as well. But he is someone that does better in tournaments that are not low scoring, birdie fest. Okay, he is someone that is very much a grinded out type player. So in this situation, and he is someone last year that his birdie or betters on this tournament was 5.5. So right on that number. Okay. I think, and this is like the only one, and this is kind of where I know it's a game and this is fun. I probably am not attacking Prize Picks that much in golf this week. If I were to, I would say Jordan Spieth, and this is something, if it was like this for each round, I'd feel pretty good about it. Jordan Spieth less birdies than that, okay? And then also Seb Straka. Seb Straka is not exactly projected to do well. He is a very similar player in the sense of he's not going to score that many birdies. He's very similar to Jordan. So birdie-wise, I would bet less. Okay, so those are the two players I feel good about that. And on the flip side, both Tom Kim and Sungjae Im are both players that are projected to do well. And actually, I'm going to pull up my Excel sheet. It's ugly, guys. I put this together, and so this is something that I could put out feature-wise, and really, obviously, make it like a product, make it something that's very useful. But I want to see Sungjae Im. Average birdies last year, 6.25 per round. So what does that tell us? Yeah, we probably want to be betting the over there for Sungjae Im, okay? And then also Tom Kim, see, this is where it gets risky. I probably wouldn't do it. The issue that we have with the Sentry Tournament Champions is that the time off in between competitive events really creates a lot more variance. Like really in between tournaments, this is going to be the highest variance that we see for players with regards to results. Okay. And last year that really was the case. I think it was Sungjae Im at the Sony Open. Really, I think he missed the cut on the number and then went on a run. It's just, obviously they haven't played competitive rounds. That's the consistency just isn't there. So that's my long way of saying players like Tom Kim, Brian Harman, other players that were, really playing well coming into this event on paper, I do worry about because it kind of evens the playing field. Like, where are they actually going to be at? If he had been coming into this event with only 3 weeks off, I'd feel fine with it. The fact that a lot of these golfers, it's a month off, 2 months off, that does worry me. So it's my long way of saying this is what I'm looking at for birdie or better percentage. And if you guys want to go deeper, we can. Strokes, I'm not touching strokes. Okay, let me pull it up again. Strokes is weird. I think this was the last one I put in there. All right. So yes. So just looking at the raw numbers, 67.5, 29% of the field did better than that. 68 for a score. 37% of the field did better than that. And then 68.5, 53. So we are getting an edge there a little bit. And then 69, there's only 2 players. 63% of the field did better than that. So chances are like Billy Horschel and Seb should be able to shoot better than that, or that number. The issue with that is 69 is -4, I mean, that's a pretty low number as a whole. That's a pretty low number. And there was golfers last year that, let me pull it up, like finished -7. minus 14. That's not even, -4 or 4 under per round, so we got to be careful with that. So that's my long way of saying, I don't know if I really want to trust this. And sure, I feel good about Sungjae Im as a play. I probably would want to play him. And maybe the raw score is a little bit better. Matt Fitzpatrick, I actually don't mind at 68. Seems like a low number for him. I think he's a pretty strong play. Tony Finau, I kind of worry about, and I was actually wondering for the birdies. Just going back to the birdies real quick. Tony Finau is someone that we know he can very much get hot at any point and just go off. We saw that so much this fall, okay, where what tournament was it? I can't think of it off the top of my head. The first 2 rounds, couldn't make a freaking putt. Couldn't make a putt. And then the third round, barely made the cut. Third round just starts draining putts from everywhere. That's pretty much him. He can get hot at any time. So I kind of want to, if I were to choose here, I would probably bet less than 6 birdies, just because you never know what you're going to get from him. And he's a guy that really just depends on his putter to get hot or cold. So yeah, my long way of saying strokes, I probably won't be touching. Greens and regulation, though. This is actually very interesting, okay? Greens and regulation wise, and once again, I'm pulling it up on my phone, so give me a second. We only have 15 or more greens and regulations, or 14.5. That's it. That's all they're giving us, okay? So 42% of the field hit 15 or more greens, okay? And then 68% of the field was able to do that for 14.5. So that tells us we probably do just want to be hammering home this number. And actually, then we pull them up on the custom model tool. Let me find which tab I have that on. I might just need to repopulate it. Okay, let me pull up the custom model tool here. And I just want to look at GUR percent, just in general. Because what I want to see is which players actually rank out the best in GUR that could most likely go over this. Off the top of my head, I think it's Patrick Cantlay. It's pretty good. Sungjae Im probably as well. I want to see it. Okay. So GUR. And not every, this is the GUR that I have in there is for the season. So that might not actually pull in. So let me go with greens gained over the last 5. Same thing, just a little bit different. Tom Kim, Scotty, Hovland, Colin Morikawa. Okay, so we could probably find an edge here. Billy Horschel's popping up there as well. So this is where we could find an edge. We want those players that are peppering greens. And is Tom Kim on this list? He is. 15, don't love that. Is there anyone else? Billy Horschel. Could probably do the over there for Billy. Let's see here. Anyone else that was popping up there? Was Hovland? I know Hovland was, but maybe this is where you go the over for Scotty there. And this is the only section that I feel good about really pumping in more. The over, okay? And then fairways hit, not that big of an edge for fairways hit. Once again, pulling it up on my phone just to look at the Twitter. Very, very low edge here. So we have 12.5 for Colin Morikawa. 8% of the field did that last year. For 12, 21% of the field. 11.5, 26. And then 11, 39. So that pretty much tells us do not be going after this at all, okay? Not a good one. And then let me just see here. Let's just see if we can find anyone to go with for this. I have a lot of data points in here, guys, too much, honestly. But I want to give everyone enough that they can be able to use. And actually, while I have it pulled up, this plus stat that I have here is actually one that I'm kind of excited to start using. It's taking in the last 5 starts on the PGA Tour, so that data already, the season data already on the PGA Tour, but then it's also going to pull in the Korn Ferry Tour and also DP Tour. So if we get a player that's playing in a bunch of different events all over the place, we can use that. So the DP Tour, that'll be nice to use for that. If I start doing Korn Ferry Tour data, that'd be nice to use for that. So I'm pretty excited for that. Let's see. I don't think fairways hit is going to be, and I don't even think I have fairways hit because it's like irrelevant. So like total driving, but that also measures good drives. Let's do good drives gained. Okay, we'll do that. Good drives. So Corey Connors, Tony Finau, Sanjay M, Colin Morikawa, Rahm. Let's see. Sanjay, I guess we could. Actually, let's do this the other way. Let's flip this around. Let's look at who sucks. Burns, Straka, Fitzpatrick, Jordan. Jordan's probably not on this. Oh, 11. Could do Jordan less here. I wouldn't mind that. I wish we were getting Seb here. That'd be good. Oh, we could. Straka less than that. Oops. We'll get to that. Interesting. So you guys kind of get it. I mean, like, not the best, and like it's really just obviously you're trying to get lucky, but for the most part, you can make some really good prize pick selections pretty much every night, especially like in NBA or NFL with some injury news and whatnot. Given the weather, the way it's looking, everything's kind of even keel. So there's not a huge edge. So by doing all these averages, like, yes, can we probably get 2 selections correct? Sure. So that would probably be the way I'm going to do this. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing this bet. Even if we get 3 of the plays right, or even 4 of the plays right, like, I'd rather just go ahead and do 2 at a time, selection-wise. Okay. So once again, if you guys enjoyed this prize picks coverage, let me know. But I'm going to go ahead and get into the round 1 showdown and betting for round 1. And so here we go. So looking at it right now, I just want to see, and I'm going to start with first round leader betting. Okay. So looking at it right now, this is how Vegas kind of values the first round leaders, and that's perfectly fine. We got Jon Rahm, Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Scotty Scheffler, and Xander. Okay. What's crazy is that 3 of them are tied. Okay. What I want to see is who are projected to win other than that. Just kind of looking at the 9-5 ranking. Jon Rahm, Scotty, Sanjay, and I actually do like JT still. Brian Harman, that's interesting. Obviously, Brian Harman had been playing extremely well, so not too big of a shock there. I could see Max Homa, but really, on a small tournament field event, what I want to do, I don't want to get too cute with it. Okay, I just want to bet probably Jon Rahm and Scotty. Okay, we learned our lesson last year, like especially when it comes to first round leader. Last year, it's if you just bet the top 5%, like it was, I don't want to say it was like every week, but it was like every other week, especially when you include the tournaments that have multiple courses. That was a big benefit. But that's my long way of saying, like, just pick the good players. So like Jon Rahm, 12-1 to have the first round lead. I will take that. Scotty Scheffler, 16-1 to have the first round lead. I will take that. And typically speaking, this is what their numbers would be on a normal event, a normal tournament. Okay, maybe a little bit higher, maybe 15-1. But given the fact that this is a reduced field, the chances of one of these guys going off and having the first round lead outright and not having to chop that up, I think is better this week than it would be on a typical week where, you know, it takes one random player in a 156-man field to go low. One random player. We almost see that every week to ruin a really good first round leader. Whereas now, with it being a reduced field, the chances of one of the really good options going low is greater. Okay, so I like that. And now let's go ahead and let's get into the showdown aspect of the first round. Okay, so I'm going to use the lineup builder here. Let me find which tab it's on. Okay, so round 1. So just looking at it, projection-wise, who's projected to get the most points? Jon Rahm, Patrick Cantlay, Scotty. Okay, let's look at who is the best value. Yeah, see, this is the problem with this week, guys, is that with it being a no-cut event, there are some people popping up with the value tag more than they should be, okay? Just because everyone's more even because everyone gets points. So probably not something you want to go off at the most. So I'm actually going to try to make some round 1 showdown builds right now, okay? So what I want to do is I want to look at this again. Which players do I want to be on the most? Which players is this telling me we should be on the most? Jon Rahm, Scotty, Sanjay, Homa, And there's no AM, PM, tee time advantage at all. Okay, we don't have to worry about that as well. So that's a good thing. Okay. So Brian Harman is someone I would like. Morikawa, Fitzpatrick. This is all even again as well, guys. Just want to tell you guys, like, it's a no cut event, first tournament back. It is risky, but yeah, let's put Brian Harman in more. Let's go Homa. Let's go Connors. Let's go Billy Ho. Let's go Sunjam. Let's pump up their projections. And so what I mean by that is, typically speaking, what I like to use this optimizer with is to bump up players' projections for a certain round, or just slate, like an NBA or NFL, just bump up their projections. That is my way of telling the lineup optimizer that I want more of that player. So if we just bump up the projections for a few really good plays, it'll be able to operate off of that. Okay, so let me get back into that. Homa, Connors, and so 52. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and bump up Rahm's too. I just want to ensure that I'm getting a lot of Rahm, because I feel like he is kind of the class of the field this week. And then more Patrick Cantlay. And this is where, if you are worried about Xander's injury potentially, you know, with that withdrawal of the Pro-Am, you don't have to play him here. Okay. And that's kind of the beauty of the Showdown slates, is that just because like you did something on the main slate doesn't mean you have to do it on the Showdown slate. And that's honestly why I love round 2 Showdown a lot, in round 3, because you can get on players or be on players less after one round. It's a big kind of bump there. So let's say we are worried about Xander. You could click off of him here and be fine with that. Maybe a little bit more of Matt Fitzpatrick. He was someone that was popping up a little bit there. Let's do 54 for those guys. And so for settings, you know, I don't really care too much about how much salary I have left over for Showdown slate, to be honest with you. It's just, it is what it is. But for this one, let's just do 4,9,100. So that's like $900 left over. I'm perfectly fine with that. So generate it, and this is what it'd be looking like. Okay, I will say for this tournament, for round 1 Showdown, probably not one to attack too much. Okay, what I like doing is I like attacking the AM side for the most part. There's just a bigger edge in the full tournament field events with this. Okay, do want to just point out something as well. What I could do, and this is part of the reason why I did this tool, made this update. Let's go to round 1 scoring. And we'll see if everyone has data in this already. I don't know if they do. So yeah, not everyone has starts into this just yet. This is pulling in from the PGA Tour round 1 scoring. Not everyone has this, but what I could do is do this and then also go based off of salary points. And actually, let's just do that instead. So if I wanted to do studs and duds for the round 1 scoring, what I would do is basically just click everyone 9K and then go to everyone under 6K. And then we'd filter by that. We would export it. And I'm not going to do that right now because it would slow up my computer. And then we go down here, click on round 1. Yeah, it'd mess up my computer. Live streaming from a platform on my computer and then also doing this stuff, it gets pretty slow. And so like something like this where it's not loading, that's pretty much why. So then you would upload it here. And so I actually might do that after this video. I think that would be the route I'm going to go. All right, so we do have another question coming in, so I'm going to answer that, and then we're going to get into the outrights. So is having Rahm, Cantlay, and Thomas in one lineup a good idea? No, it's a great idea. Really great idea there. Honestly, like, please force in the good players, okay? That just the route that you should be going this week. Basically, all the builds that I've done are something along those lines where I am chasing 3 elite plays, okay? Now, personally, I don't love JT as much as other people do, but JT is still a good play. Like, JT could easily go on win. He has the best course history here, guys. 4 straight top 5 finishes. Like, it is really nitpicking who to be on this week. Okay. And that's one thing that last year, DraftKings, they just got a lot better at pricing. FanDuel got a lot better at pricing. The sports books got a lot better with their odds. They finally learned like how to not give us free squares pretty much. And like last year at this time, I remember we did still have some free squares. That's just not the case. So yes, please just hammer in the studs, because if you're hammering in the studs and they go first, second, third, the points that they gain by doing that is going to be huge. So if you can hit on one or two good value plays, that's going to really benefit you. Okay. Or if you hit on one or two value plays that are outproducing their price tag, you should be able to profit, because they should be able to make up for the difference of maybe an 8K player going off. Like if you were to load up, let's go to this right up here real quick. I should have a questions tab on the right-hand side of the video. Oh, where this isn't the write-up. It was a different one. Let's see here. What goes into a winning GPP lineup? There we go. Let's see here. So no cut events. Basically what it was that if you were to go with 6 mid-tier players, basically if you didn't know anything about the tournament and just were going in saying, hey, I don't know anything about this tournament, your best chance of cashing would be to go with 6 mid-tier players. 6 players from that 8.9 to 8K price point tier, okay? Which, sure, if you feel like you don't have a good grasp on this week's tournament, do that, okay? Because, yes, that'll raise your floor, but we can see the edge there is not that much. So the average point scored by players in that price point tier is 452, whereas the average price or the average fantasy points it took to score was 441. Okay. Now what you can do is, or what I went ahead and did is that if you were to just pull in like the top 3 players from the 905 model, that's actually going to give you a pretty big edge. It's going to gain you about 84 points. So by doing that, so let's say 3 high tier and 3 value tier, you could add on 84 points onto this, and then you are gaining a really big edge. So as long as you can be on the correct players on the top end and be on good enough value plays, that's typically the route to go. But if you feel like you don't have a good grasp, then yes, mix and match the mid tier, that 8K price point tier. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get into the betting. Just looking at it right now, guys. So Vegas, win percent based off of their odds. They're giving John Rahm about a 15% win percentage. Justin Thomas, 11. Patrick Cantlay, 10. Scotty, 10. Xander, 9. Tony Finau, 7. Okay, so we kind of get that. So let's go ahead and just look at the 9-5 win rank. So what goes into this is that I'm pretty much looking at how many times has a player won over the past 25 starts. And then also, what's their form coming into this event? We're also using the 9-5 model. But that's why it differs a little bit from the 9-5 model. The 9-5 model is also really focusing on both a floor and upside, whereas the win rank is just focusing on upside, obviously. So that's why sometimes the model and the win rank differ, just so you know. So Patrick Cantlay, obviously, been someone that's won a decent amount really over the past 2 years now. So it's no shock. You know, one of the best plays this week. No shock that he's pumping up there on my data. And then John Rahm as well, obviously class of the field. Vegas thinks he's a strong chance to win. Let's look at the biggest difference between Vegas win rank and 9-5 win rank. And I'm not saying bet this, but it also is something that says, hey, maybe I could bet him to top 10, top 20 and whatnot. That's a route that you could go. Brian Harmon is one of those. Max Homa, Willie Z. Okay, so all decent ones. What I want to do is I just kind of want to call out the players that I like for you guys. And just kind of echo the reasons why I like them a little bit more. Okay, so Scotty Scheffler ranks out 4th in the model. You could easily play him. Let's just point out why again. So the biggest worry with Scotty is really not much. Recent form has been pretty good. We can see 4 out of his last 5 starts have been top 10 finishes. That's great. Specialist-wise, 6th. That's great. Okay. Stat rank-wise, 3rd. Recent form, 10th. Okay. He does have a couple of bad finishes in there, but in terms of like outright betting, we don't really care about the bad finishes. We care about the upside. Obviously, the upside's been there. Okay. So he is someone that obviously could easily go on and win. He's the highest priced player in the slate. The issue that I have with Scotty is that we can get John Rahm, and this DFS wise, not right wise, it makes sense. These are the two classes of the fields. So John Rahm, and this is where I like betting John Rahm first round leader, maybe more or less than I would outright wise, because best first round leader rank, great odds, smaller field, increases his chances. We can see John Rahm has been on a tear though. First, fourth, first, second. And once again, I'm not including the Hero World Challenge, just so people know. Okay. Not including the Hero World Challenge. It's just too small of a field to put in there. And honestly, I'm struggling with just while I kind of thinking about it, I'm struggling with the Live Tour, whether I want to include that, especially with those golfers playing in majors, because it's just there's no real correlation there between their events that they have going on, no-cut events, don't really care about how they perform and whatnot. I'm struggling how to put that into the data for upcoming majors. And maybe I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. I probably will figure out a way to do that, but just FYI, I'll probably just keep it even keel like I do with most stuff where I don't want to be changing the data. But just something I'm thinking about. But once again, long way of saying the Hero World Challenge I did not include because I don't really consider it a real event. It's a very small field, and really that skews the data with how I have things set up, where I'm looking at ranks pretty much. That is how my data is set up. I'm looking at ranks because it's just easier to follow and easier to do things like the custom model and whatnot. But John Rahm, best specialist, okay? Best in recent form. And this includes the DP Tour, in case you guys were wondering that. Been focused on that data more. Going to start implementing more Korn Ferry Tour stuff as well. Course history-wise, really strong. I mean, 2nd, 7th, 10th, 8th. Just missed out on Cam Smith. I mean, Cam Smith went off. I think they both set the course record. I forget. I think they both set a course record or tournament record with their low scores. And that's how easy of scoring it is. And I think that's why Prize Picks is definitely gearing more towards it being a scoring fest because they're looking at last year's data more so. And they probably should be because the weather suggests that. John Rahm, great play. Okay, summary of that. Let's go a little bit lower. Patrick Cantlay, he's one of my favorite plays. We get him at some pretty good odds. I haven't checked what they are now, but pretty good odds there. We can see course history has been pretty good. Once again, with an outright, what are we worried about? We're worried about capturing upside. We can see he has 2 top 5 finishes. Okay, that is great. DFS wise, though, that 13th place finish is not ideal at this price tag, but not terrible as well. Recent form wise, though, great. 2nd, 7th, 1st, 57th, 2nd, good stuff there. Recent form, just looking at the last 10, that's intriguing. This really shows us consistency in his game, and that's also why he ranks out really well in the model. That's part of how I raise a player's floor is by looking at their consistency. And obviously he's been really consistent. 2nd best specialist. I really like his chances to win. Obviously great course history. Been someone that's done that a few times. But really, guys, I mean, we saw Harris English win. That was kind of out of nowhere. And I would say like out of nowhere winners would be like Matt Fitzpatrick to me, where a guy that didn't have any course history came in and did well. So wouldn't hate him. But that's it. I don't really want to chase a long shot. I feel like what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I'm just going to bet Patrick Cantlay, maybe Xander, and maybe Rahm. And that's about it. If I'm worried about Xander, if you guys are worried about Xander, maybe just go Scotty instead. Like, sure, not fun. Not fun at all there. A lot of people do like to do long shot bets. Brian Harman you could do. Like, if you trust that the form is going to be there, sure. The issue with some play like Brian Harman, and actually let's just go Sunjam. I don't mind Sunjam. I came close to betting Sunjam. Better example. Great course history for Sunjam. 8th and 5th. The recent form's a little bit in question, but we have seen him, once again, outright betting. We don't care about the bad starts. We care about the upside starts. Okay? Second. 3 seconds in his last 8 starts. So that's pretty good stuff there. Okay. He is someone that it just wouldn't be shocking to see him win. Maybe someone that, I don't know, midway through the day, midway through the round, you're like, all right, yeah, he's golfing well. Let's go ahead and jump on him. Sure, you might not get the best odds on him, but at the same time, you're still going to get good odds on him. So that could be a route as to which you go. But once again, reduce field. My strategy with doing outright bets is reduce the field down to 5%. Well, 5% this week is like 2.5 players. So not that fun, outright betting wise. Okay. So I already mentioned the ownership. If anyone has any questions about ownership, I'll do that, but not just yet. And then also the value reports. Nothing to really go off of, honestly, this week. Typically, I would do FanDuel, Yahoo Value. I don't really see the point in doing that. This week, I could. But I do want to show you guys just kind of some lineup thoughts, and then I'll begin into the lineup builder. So let's give some lineup thoughts. Okay. Are there any questions here? Let me see. I think it's better with M and Connors rather than JT and Spawn. So, that's the issue. That's the mental hurdle right there, Casey. Yes and no. Okay, like if JT's the correct play on the top end there, then JT and Spawn are the correct plays. Okay. Time in and time again, as long as you select one or two of the top plays correctly, the difference between the next two best, let's just say in this instance, between Connors and Spawn, is less than the difference between, let's say, JT to Sun JM. Like if JT goes out, let's say finishes third, and Sun JM finishes, 10th, the difference between that is most likely going to be greater than two okay plays like Spawn and Connors. Just kind of how it plays out typically. So I like Sun JM. Okay. Yes. I like Connors a little bit as well. If you were to change that, let's say I have a bias towards this. Let's just say, and I guess I can pull this up here. Just do M. I don't get why these DP Tour players are pulling in here, guys. I apologize. That's something I'll get corrected next week, but whatever. Let's see here. Sun JM and Connors were the question. Okay, so this is how they're projected to do together. 196, that's pretty good. Obviously, I like Sun JM a decent amount. Corey Connors, he is someone that I think he'll finish better than how he's priced, but at the same time, not a big needle mover. Like, should be a solid play. Like, I don't mind that route. Okay, I don't. But let's go ahead and just look at JT and Spawn. Let's see here. So basically the same, and that's what I'm saying. So let's just say that JT does go ahead and he finishes, I don't know, gets the bonus points for third overall finish or something like that. Then the bonus points that he gets for that would pretty much outweigh the difference between Spawn and Connors, is kind of the best way to sum that up. Or if he goes out and wins, it's pretty much you want to chase on the upside. You want to chase players that have the best chance to win, basically. Because the difference in those points is the greatest. But let's go ahead and try to make some builds. I'm going to focus on both FanDuel and DraftKings here. Really just FanDuel because I already did DraftKings. So scratch the DraftKings part. Just going to do FanDuel real quick. So if I remember correctly, I was able to do like a John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, JT build, I believe. So let me try that. And then it was just random players on the bottom. Hoagie. We're getting pretty close there. Let's see. Let's go with Trey. So yeah, I mean that's something you can make work pretty well. It's super easy on FanDuel, typically speaking, to fit studs into your builds. So like what you could do here is literally just pay up for another stud. Maybe go off of Hoagie. Nah, I can't do that. Let's see. Forget who it was. The point is you can fit 4 studs on FanDuel this week. Okay? DraftKings you can't. DraftKings is always one in which it's FanDuel, you can put together better builds, typically speaking, just every single slate, which is weird because now thinking about it, like NFL, NBA, it's the exact opposite. Where like DraftKings, you can always find like a pretty solid build, whereas FanDuel is more difficult. No, in golf, it's the exact opposite. Typically, you can fit in a bunch of studs, and I forget exactly which one it was. And I'd pull it up if I could remember it, but I can't. But yeah. All right, let's go ahead and get into the lineup builder portion of this, and I should be getting out of here. Once again, if anyone has any questions, make sure to get those in. Can you guys see my cat in the background? Remember we did the cat, name my cat winners? Well, he's back there again, taking a little nap. So let's see here. Which players do I want to be on more? They're already pretty much projected up, but I just want to ensure that I am going to get more of them. So let's just go ahead and bump up Roms, okay? Let's go and bump up Cantlays. And you don't have to bump it up more. But this is, a lot of people set ownerships to tell an optimizer that they want to be on them. This optimizer works based off of fantasy projections. So it's always going to try to spit out the best build. And so the way that you tell it to do that is by increasing the projections of the players you want to be on. And you know what? I might just look at my my player pool. This is available for 9 to 5 members. The write-up here. I'm just going to go ahead and look at it because these are the players I'm going to bump up their projections more of. And obviously, with it being a smaller field, these are the players I want to be on the most. So, Cantlay, Rom, Xander, them the most. Sanjay, Power, Homa, Wise. Okay. That's right. Guys, I produce a lot of content. Okay, it's tough to remember all this stuff off the top of my head. So the thing about like Homa, it's weird. Like, I don't want him in a fair and balanced build. I want him in like a one-off situation where maybe we're getting Patrick Cantlay, Xander, and then we get Max Homa in there, and then maybe it's Wise and Power. Like I want in that. I don't want Homa, Fitzpatrick, JT. Like I don't want that. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to kind of tell at this right now. Let's see, Power and Wise. You guys remember, I really like Power and Wise. Just give them their upside, I think. I think both of them could really go out and have a really good night or a really good weekend. They just seemed a little bit mispriced, and they seem like players that should be able to outproduce their price tag. That's really what it comes down to, and that's really the goal this week is to find those players that can do that. And then Matt Fitzpatrick, JT Poston, Brian Harmon, Trey Mullinax. Trey Mullinax I'm going to bump up a little bit, and JT Poston and JJ Spawn just a little bit, and even Scott Stallings. Because the optimizer probably won't pull them in, so let's just do like 89. Not too much. $89. Let's do 92. And then Trey Mullinax. Once again, I don't want to say I like Trey Mullinax as a play. I like him in this tournament is the best way to sum it up. Because the chances of him outproducing his price tag, I think, are pretty good. And like he's a terrible play, but also he's a good play because of his upside. That's pretty much the best way I can explain that. So Chris is asking about Xander again. So I kind of already mentioned this a little bit, but kind of my strategy would be like for round 1 showdown, if you are someone that plays that, probably don't target him just if you're worried about that at all. I haven't seen any news on that, Xander news. And so I guess I'll go ahead and pull that up here real quick on my phone, just see any news on Xander just yet. And then for those of you guys that are coming into this video after, we already talked about this. Xander is currently, I guess, questionable. He withdrew from a Pro-Am. And typically speaking, with players like Xander that aren't coming in with an injury that have withdrawn from a Pro-Am, I don't care. Like, sure, You think about it, you process it. If more information comes out, you know how better to attack it. But if it was a player like Hideki, where he has had some injury concerns, then yes, some red flags are going off. You start to worry. Where Xander, it's like we haven't really heard anything about it, and I'm not seeing any news on Xander. Like they say it might be an injury. Like who knows? I don't know. Like did he have a back injury flying on the plane? Like we just don't know. And we have seen time in and time again players that are injured not actually be injured and go on and have good rounds. If you're worried about him though, guys, this is very much, and I love Xander this week, I do. This is very much a tournament in which it's a loaded field. Like if you are worried about it, and if you find yourself like you'd be kicking yourself if you played him and he goes like and he does poorly, don't play him. I am perfectly fine accepting that he might be injured and he might not produce as well as he typically would. Okay, so with Xander, I can take, if it's risky, I can take that risk. I can manage that risk. I'm happy to take that risk because given his price tag, he's very tough to pass up on. At the same time, if you are worried about it, you don't have to play him. I mean, there's so many great plays. Like it is really tight this week in terms of who are the best plays. Okay, these are the best players from last year because they won, so I get it if you don't want to play him. He hasn't played Tuesday or Wednesday. Could be too much party from the New Year's. Maybe. I mean, I see from what I remember in years past, it's not this tournament that players party. It's the next tournament that they do, especially the players that had been in this tournament. Those are the players that you have to worry about because they've had a 2 weeks in paradise pretty much about the partying aspect. See, this honestly, guys, this is where the PGA Tour needs reporting. They just do. It's long overdue. Okay, they just do. Yeah, so yeah, with the injury, it's just like, what kind of injury? Is it from flying over on a plane? Is it from not swinging a club in too long? Heck, is it a blister? Like, like it could be as something as simple as that. Oh, I have a blister on my finger. I don't want to swing the club too many times. It could be a sore back from sleeping on a different bed. I don't know. It's just tough. Yeah, so I believe Patrick Cantlay and Xander were, I didn't look at, I saw the picture. There's a big picture going around with Xander and Cantlay, and people are giving Cantlay a lot of crap for it. Not having swag, which, come on, everyone already knew that. Guy has terrible swag. But yeah, I believe they were in Hawaii already. Them and their, I don't know if they're both married, but them and their girls. Yeah. Go Pack, go. Man, they better win. They better win this weekend. Oh, man. That's interesting there, football-wise. But, all right, let's do the lineup builder, guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and run it, see which players it's fitting in there right now based off of 20 lineups. And if I like the 150 lineups, I'll do that. So player-wise, who's it pulling in? Well, it's pulling in the players that I want right now. This is good. This is really good. I actually don't mind this. Maybe a little bit more spawn, maybe a little bit less Ramey, but what is the lineup optimizer already doing naturally because I told it that I want it to be on Rahm, Xander, and Cantlay? It's pulling in duds. It's already naturally doing a studs and duds approach, which gets me excited, okay? So that's good. Obviously, don't want to be on a player 90% in golf, okay? If it's a small 3-game slate in NBA or something, or a Showdown slate, it's a little bit different. Typically, I do like 40%. With it being a smaller no-cut field, I might do 55. That's just kind of how I feel. So if we do 55, it's definitely a lot more spread out. We're still getting a lot of the players that we want to be on. Power, Wise, Homa, Im. Feel really good about that. Okay. So like, honestly, if I were to just, and maybe I would try to get JT in there because I do like JT as a play. Maybe instead of Finau, I would try to get JT in there. Maybe instead of Spieth, I would get Finau in there. And actually, let's just do that. So I'm actually going to bump Jordan's down a little bit and bump Finau's down slightly. I don't hate Fitzpatrick. If I'm choosing between Finau and Fitzpatrick, I'd rather have him. But JT, we're going to go with like 104. Okay. That should correct that. Yeah, I mean, I don't really blame people if they're jumping off of Xander. But I don't know, it's just time in and time again last year, we saw this. We saw this happen where, someone would be a withdrawal. We would get all these reports, and that's also the issue with fantasy golf is that you can't really call these tweets reports. There's so many accounts out there right now that act like they know this information from golfers and whatnot that are getting the same information we're all seeing and just wording it a little bit differently. So I'm just looking at the lineup lock time, 23 hours from now. So what does that put us at? That put us at enough time to be able to adjust to news from Xander. Okay. Typically speaking, the day of, especially if they have afternoon tee time, and in this sense, we should have enough time to be able to adjust tomorrow throughout the day, throughout the morning, if we get more news about Xander. If we don't, I'm fine with Xander. If we do, maybe we get off of him. And honestly, this is where it is very nice to be able to outright bet and play DFS, or bet and play DFS. You can still bet Xander outright wise. Maybe don't put as many units on it, but that's a great way. That's how I like it, is that maybe just because we get some news, you can still get exposure to him in a different way. Like, he's still a good play, but maybe, obviously if he's injured, he could easily be the one player that ruins your build and ruins your week. Whereas, if you're betting 3-4 people outright wise, it doesn't really matter if one player sucks outright wise, as long as you have the winner. I think I'll jump out Xander for the Classic and use him for Showdown. So that's an interesting thought process. I was kind of going the other way. So Nick's saying that, and that's not a bad idea because his ownership probably will be low for round one. That's not bad. I don't mind that. You could do that. So play him in round one Showdown instead of the main slate. It's not a terrible idea. I will say, just in general, let's be watching for that. He is someone that will probably be lower round two Showdown as well. If he's fine, we can just go up and load up on him. So definitely an interesting thought. I like that thought there, Nick. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and try to do 150 lineups here. See where I would need to make some changes. Just out of curiosity, if you guys are in watching this right now or coming in later, how would you like Prize Picks content? Because I feel like there's enough people out there that enjoy it, that want it. Do you want a separate video? I think I will always cover it in some sort of live stream because I do want to be doing more shows like this this year. That's kind of my emphasis. But do you want a quick core plays video? I'm still going to do those. I'm still going to do the 5-minute core plays video. Do you want more of that? Because I can do that. It's just, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your guys' time if you guys don't like it either. I value your guys' click, in all honesty. So just let me know. Okay, so yeah, don't play Pirates. That's perfectly fine. It's just, I've seen a lot of people playing it. People have been asking about it. Obviously, the Sports Battle app is pretty much the same thing. There's a lot of stuff out there like that. Stat Hero as well. And actually, while I'm live, let me see if Stat Hero has anything. Because Stat Hero is fun. It's just their Survivor Series is fun. I don't know if you guys play Stat Hero at all. It's just a fun little once-a-day thing. I don't know if you guys have a morning routine. Okay. Basically, if you're sipping on coffee in the morning, just trying to get awake or whatever, whatever. You go into the Prize Picks, whatever. Go to their Survivor and set a lineup for the day or week or whatever it is. It's just a a fun once a day thing where you don't have to put too much thought process into it. And no, Stat Hero does not have any golf contests just yet. Okay. And that's another thing. A lot of companies don't even care about golf right now like we do. But let's see here. So 150 lineups, you can easily do that. Okay. Let's see here. Getting a lot of spread out ownership, which is pretty good. Need more of JT. Because personally, I like him. I like him. So, and probably Scott Stallings, bump up his projection a little bit. Maybe Spawns a little bit. And maybe drop down Chez a little bit, but for the most part, I'm getting the players that I want, and maybe a little bit less of Jordan as well. Let's just look at the statistics of this lineup. Make sure we're good. Okay, average salary, good. I mean, typically speaking, guys, if we can have enough salary, I want it. Okay, and especially with a smaller field, like there's no point of setting a minimum. And just as an FYI, if you guys use this. A lot of the times, the worst lineups will be the bottom lineups. Just FYI, because it's trying to put in there what you guys wanted. What you guys wanted in there. I am going to try a rule though. Rom. And maybe this is the way in which I don't get too much overexposure to Xander. I don't know. When a lineup includes Rahm, I want Cantlay, and then I can also do another rule. When a lineup includes Cantlay, I want Rahm. Now that could easily be a way to get exposure to him, but we're already naturally getting it, so I don't feel like we need to do that rule. Okay, and the more you tell it in golf, especially, the less likely it's going to be able to filter off of what you're telling it. All right. So yeah, okay. I'm just reading through the comments and stuff, just reading through it. Nothing too much. So what's the question about the core plays there? Are you talking about FanDuel there, or are you talking about a different? Are you talking did I switch up my DraftKings core plays? Just verify a little bit. Wise, Power, then Studs, Ramanim. Yeah, I like that. I like that, Roger. Rogers Turner. Yeah, I mean, I just like the upside of Wise and Power at their price points. Now I keep having to say this because I don't want you guys coming back to me tomorrow or next week being like, Eric, you said Wise and Power were great plays. They didn't produce. What the heck? There's a lot of variables that go into this week, especially like on paper. I like them. They should outproduce their price tag. This is an event in which basically everyone in it is a great play. And I can sum that up by showing you guys the core plays data tag. The data tag is my AI, if you will, that I have in there that pretty much says these players are safe plays. These players are upside plays. And then, if we were to go with fades, those are the bad plays. This is the most core plays I've ever had in here, like by double. It is insane. These are all great plays. Okay. And part of that's because a lot of the top end golfers from last year in the FedEx Cup playoffs didn't play that much in the fall. And so their recent form's still great. And then some other players like Brian Harmon, like Max Homa, like Billy Horschel, like Corey Connors, like Keegan, that did play in the fall, that had good fall swings. They're also pulling in there. Okay. That really kind of evens the playing field more so this year than I think it has in years past. What players do you like on DK? Oh, yeah. So what players do I like on DK? So my core plays are going to be kind of the same as they were. And I'm definitely going to add a questions tab on right below me here. There we go. On that. Just so people don't get confused. So my core plays, they're going to stay the same as they were. I still really like Jon Rahm. I'm going out of my way to play Jon Rahm. You can easily fit him in there on both FanDuel and DraftKings. And then Patrick Cantlay for sure. Like those two I just like. They're very soft pricing this week, so you can make a lot of great plays work. And then I'm still going to be on Xander. A lot of people in the chat, basically everyone in the chat said, I'm not on Xander. So you can take that. You honestly, like, I'm not going to be offended if you don't want to play Xander. You can easily just play someone else in his price point range. Like Tony Finau's a great play. Justin Thomas, I love his course history. We know what he can do on no-cut events. It's just a matter of if he gets hot. You got Max Homa, Tony Finau, all right there. Victor Hovland, I probably won't play. A little bit worried about him. I was very close to making Sungjae a core play. My biggest issue with Sungjae is honestly the price tag. I really want to be going studs and duds. So by tossing him in and Max Homa in, I don't love that too much. I don't love having like two of them in there. But that's it. Like my core plays are Rahm, Cantlay, Xander. Okay. Then I also like other players like Power, like Wise as well. And then honestly, like, let me get off the core play tag. I'm not saying Trey Mullinax is a core play. Definitely not saying that. Given his price tag, I am on Trey Mullinax and JJ Spawn much more than probably anyone would feel comfortable with, because I feel like they can outproduce their price tag. Okay. And what I mean by that, and I've touched on this a couple of times now, if I hit on the players on the top end, like I kind of think I'll be able to, all I want are some value plays that are going to outproduce their price tag, and get close to some of the other plays that would be a 7 in this price tag, pretty much. Get close to their average. As long as they're doing that, as long as I'm getting the bonus points from the top end studs, I am happy with that. I'm good with that. I'll take that. Okay. Let's see here. Any love for JT Poston? Yes, I got a lot of love for JT Poston, actually. Let's see here. I'll try to pull him up here on the write-up a little bit. Let's see. Here we go. Poston is a play that I like more and more as the week has went on. His course history ranking is 11th, or his course history finishing was 11th in 2020, which is great. He's also a top 20 stat fit and ranking out 3rd in greens gained. So he's a guy that can pepper the greens, and we know, with him, he's just a guy that can get hot with the putter. So yes, I like JT Poston. JT Poston is a guy that I think has potential to outproduce his price tag. And let's see. Yeah, he's already someone that's popping up here as well. So that's why I like him. Hovland, I saw his course history, honestly, and I just wasn't loving it. Let me go on and pull up Hovland here. And this is part of the problem with this week is, like, obviously Hovland's a freaking great player. We have to pick and choose a little bit, You can't be on everyone. So Hovland, very good price tag. Recent form, not terrible. He's had the upside. If we look over the last 10 starts, there. Over the last 5 starts, there. Over the last 15 starts, not exactly there. Am I worried about that? No. I do worry about the course history, which is weird because he has won on similar style tracks. Maybe it's just like a mental thing, where it's the first event back from a long break. Maybe it's not an event that he has taken very seriously in the past where he's just happy to be there. He's not a bad play. I would say he's priced correctly. That's part of the issue with him. I'm trying to find these slight edges in pricing, and that's kind of him. All right, let's see here. Yeah, Spawn, I think Spawn's a good value play there. Need to up his ownership. Let's see. Don't love fits at Easy Birdie Fest. So he got better on the season last year in just scoring in general. And that's also a problem. It's just like Matt Fitzpatrick is a different player to me than he was really at any point of his whole career. Like, he turned a different leaf, kind of like Max Homa coming into last season. You kind of just tell he's a different player, and that the player that he was in the past, they weren't going back to. That's kind of how I feel about Matt Fitzpatrick. Now, yes, the specialist data would suggest what you're saying is true. Like, you don't want to be playing him because he's just about middle of the field, specialist-wise. And once again, for people that don't know, specialist data is just pulling in all the key characteristics for that week's tournament. That's just like course designer, course length, scoring. So like easy scoring events, no-cut events and whatnot. So yeah, it does make sense. That thought process makes sense. Key stat-wise, not a perfect key stat fit as well. That's the issue with this week. I actually thought I was going to be he's like the one player that would probably regret the most if he goes off. If that makes sense. Like, I feel personally, and like Corey Connors as well, those are the two players where like I'm not playing them. And let's see what the lineup builder is spitting out. Okay, 12%. So I might be on him. And then Corey Connors, anything? 3%. So I'll be on them a little bit. But they're just plays that like mentally I'm like, I kind of want to be in them. But I've really, over the past year and a half, and it's still a battle, I'm like, trust the data, darn it. Just trust the darn data. In golf and NFL, that's always my biggest regret, really. Let's see here. Couldn't pick from studs and duds and a few studs mid-range. So just going with both. Yeah, you can do both as well. Honestly, like it's the Sentry Tournament Champions. It's hit or miss. Let's put it that way. This is an event that I like to play all the events for DFS purposes because I feel like the mental edge that you get playing in these events rather than just kind of doing the research really will help you out, whether it's next week, the week after that, the week after that. Like, eventually this stuff is going to come through and really help you. It just kind of adds up. All right, so I feel like we pretty much covered it all. This is a pretty long live stream, which I'm perfectly fine with. Obviously, I enjoy talking golf. But this is also something that I think I'm going to do more of. Once again, do a Monday show. And let's just go to the main screen here. So yeah, I think I'm going to do like a Monday show. Let me guys know if that music and there we go, that corner is too loud. But yeah, I want to do a Monday live stream, which is going to be the long Monday video that I did, but it'll be like a 30-minute video, just breaking down everything that goes into that week's tournament, course data and whatnot, who are the top plays, talking about the top picks in each price point here. I will still be doing a core plays video. That'll be a short 5-minute video. And then Tuesday, I want to do some sort of probably betting. That'll be like the betting day. The one thing I hate, and this is more me because it's my style of play, I hate like, no, I don't want to say hate. I want to be as educated as I can before I place an outright bet, before I place a bet. Okay, that's typically why in DFS I'll reserve the contest that I want to be in first and then make the final lineups last. Okay, I want to deal with betting. So that's kind of why I want to do the betting on Tuesday rather than a lot of the Monday coverage with betting comes out. You know, a lot of people put out Monday coverage. I don't like to do that. I want to make the best educated decisions so that I'm not telling people something that later on in the week I don't believe, pretty much. And yes, I might miss out on some great numbers for outright purposes and whatnot, but for the most part last year, that wasn't the issue. The biggest problem I had with that was the terrible outright win of Ryan Brehm, who, if we just look back on it now, the Ryan Brehm outright hit was terrible. But if I had been on him first on Monday, it was like 100 to 1 odds. By the time I was recommending him as a bet, it was 65 to 1. You know, that was my only really regret with that. Other than that, is like 12 to 1, coming from 16 to 1 to 12 to 1. So, you know, that's fine. Svensson, a good play. So Svensson is a very interesting one. I have actually put him into some builds, I guess, let's just say on purpose, where typically speaking, I'll do, let's say 20 hand builds. Let's put them that way. Or your hand building builds. There were a couple builds in those hand builds, obviously you want to get 20 unique builds in that, where I'm like, Svensson's there. He is popping a little bit specialist wise, and let's actually pull that up here. Let's see. Ooh, let's see if I can do this. Oh, hey, cool. Got that tab. Fun. So let's see. He was popping up for one of these. I forget which one it was. And I was like, really like, oh, that's a reason to play him. Because this is a tournament in which with those like value plays, you are trying to find a reason to play him. I think it was scoring. Yeah, it was. So this is measuring like the last 5 starts. Renisaw is one of the best players on easy scoring events. Now, his easy scoring events are different than the other studs because his easy scoring events were coming from the fall swing and whatnot, events that these higher caliber players weren't exactly playing in. So yes, his data probably a little bit skewed, but at the same time, he's like the only low price player that's popping up on this. So given the fact that it is projected to be an easy scoring event, I could see a path to where you play him. All right, but yeah, so the Wednesday stream will be like this, where I'm fielding a lot more questions, a lot more open. There's the potential that I might pull up the questions on the screen for you as well. Yeah. I do want to say as well, I think I'm going to come out with kind of a stupid content piece after this video. I don't know if you guys have seen the first round leader dart videos on Twitter. I forget who does it. Someone does it, which kind of got me the idea. I've been working on a putting green in my basement to do a first round leader putts. So basically, if I miss a putt, that player's out. So like do the top 7. And then it's just a fun way, a content thing to, one, it's not going to be like we're trying to hit a bad first round leader. We're just trying to luckily guess which one we should be on. I think that could be fun. Okay. But that's all I have for you guys for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. Smash that like button before you guys leave. I do appreciate that. If you already did, don't touch the like button. We're good. But I do appreciate that. That does help out the channel, pushes it out to more people. But that's all I have for you guys. I do appreciate everyone coming in here. It was a fun live stream. Typically speaking, I will cap this off at an hour, but you know, it's the first one back, and it's honestly the first live stream back in a while, so I wanted to get that out to you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, yes, like and subscribe. Let's have a good week, guys. First golf tournament of 2023. It's always fun. It's fun to have it back. I'm excited to, I guess I can't get up. That's the worst part about the Sentry Tournament Champions. And like really the beginning stretch is that I love getting up and watching golf, grinding golf. No, we have to wait until 12, 1, 2 p.m. sometimes, which is unfortunate. It's nice to be able to grind golf in the morning. All right. Nice for watching. Have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cashing.